cutting some potatoes over here. And I just wanted to give you a little tip on cutting potatoes. Okay, so when you cut a potato, the quickest way is to cut the longest cuts first. Okay, so let's see if I can get a good focus on this. So what you want to do is the longest cuts first. So this is shortest side of the potato, so you want to cut along that so that you cut longest. And then what you want to do is do about 2 cuts on the top here, and then you can cut all these. And so mathematically you'll have the least amount of cuts you'll have to do. And if you do it in any other order, you're going to have to do a little bit more cutting, and you're going to have to hold a bunch more pieces at once. This way you're only going to have to hold 6 pieces, as opposed to if you do a bunch of cuts here, then you're going to have to struggle holding all these while you do your long cuts. It's just like cutting a piece of 2x4 or plywood that you got to make a bunch of cuts on. Anyway, I'm going to cut these potatoes. I'll get right back at you. Alright guys, I'm back. I got Shelby holding the camera right now, but I wanted to give you some more onion tips. I know if you watch my videos religiously, I got that tip on how to cut onions. I'm going to do that real quick and give you another tip on onions. So what I like to do is I like to cut around the equator here, just over past the first layer, and I just work my way around just like that till I get back to my original cut. And this is the easiest way to peel an onion, because it, for the most part, usually will all come apart in 1 or 2 sections or so. Kind of similar to how you cut an orange, or peel an orange technically. Okay, you see that? Easy peasy, lemon squeezy, baby. Just work your way around here with your thumb. Bam! Oh, that was so easy. Throw that away in your trash bag here, guys.
Volume is at 50%.
And then what you do is you cut it in half. Like I showed you in the other video, and this is the big thing. So you don't cry. What you got to do here is cut out the heart here, the core. Okay, that core is what makes you cry. And so what I'm doing right now is I'm just stabbing around this. You don't even have to go all the way through. About halfway through will be good. And you can usually just poke that core out of there. Now I might cry a little bit because we got that other piece of onion here, but the acid will be substantially less. And then you got to be real careful when cutting the onion like this, but cut it long ways. This is a Vidalia onion, by the way. I just like cooking with sweet onions. A lot of people aren't crazy about the taste of onions, I being one of them, but I actually really enjoy the taste of these sweet onions. If I have onions in my salad, they gotta be sweet onions. All right, then you put all those slices together and you just mince them real simple, like once this way, once the other way. I put half of this with my potatoes, and I put the other half with the chicken. And you say, man, you're always cooking potatoes and chicken. Well, hey, you come over here, you cook for me, you cook whatever the hell you want if you pay for it, and I'll eat it, I guarantee you. I don't care if it's liver and onions, baby. But anyway, you know how you mince onions and everything. And then once I cut this, I'm just going to set all those slices on the side for the chicken, as I stated prior. But, you know, just mince these onions before you throw them in the potatoes and everything. And be real careful not to cut yourself, obviously. But as you can see, no tears. And I'm really damn close to this stuff. But no tears, baby. No tears but thug tears. Or not even those this time. And then another tip over here while you're cooking your potatoes, I splash a little bit of water in here, get some humidity in the pot. You know, I got frying pan, electric skillet. I put the lid on there, and it'll moisten them up and soften them up. And so when the water, so that'll soften them up. But then once the water evaporates, then they'll start browning. So they soften up before they start browning, and that's just kind of cool. And I'm gonna throw some Italian dressing in here with these potatoes just to give it a little bit of zest. I like to cook the potatoes about halfway and then throw the onions. The onions will cook so much faster than the potatoes, especially if you mince them. But to save time, I'm gonna throw these onions in here, and I'm gonna cut this onion. And to avoid salmonella, I'm gonna cut all my vegetables. That's why I'm cooking the potatoes. I'll throw the potatoes in a container, and then while the chicken's cooking. And so after I cook this onion, I'm going to start slicing up the chicken. But don't slice the chicken first and then put potatoes in your on your cutting board over here, guys. Just throw those onions here in the potatoes. Might put a little bit more onions with the potatoes because it kind of goes more with the onions and the chicken. And I'm just going to drown the chicken in Italian dressing and everything once it starts browning a little bit, or right before. That way it doesn't dry out or anything when you do it that way. Little Matt with Tips for Truckers secret over here. But yeah, after these start browning, I'm going to throw just a splash of Italian dressing, because as a lot of you guys know, Italian dressing is like mostly oil anyways. So I'm going to cut the rest of this onion and I'll get back at you guys. And like I said, I'll do an example on a bigger piece. When it's getting close to ready, okay, that's still a little bit soft, but when it gets nice and hard, try and find a piece here, right here, that one's kind of firm, and you know it's a small piece, you should be able to just cut it real easily with the spatula. And that's how you tell it's done. But yeah, really cook chicken at your own risk, guys, because if you don't cook it all the way through, then you're gonna get a salmonella, possibly. See, this one's still a little bit soft. It's probably pink on the inside if I were to cut it. Anyway, gotta finish cutting this up, guys, and I will see you in a bit. Guys, and before I throw this chicken in the lid, on the lid, and then throw the potatoes back in here to heat them up, I just want to tell you, a lot of people don't know there's a big debate on should you cut with the grain or against the grain. Well, science has an answer, and the answer is cut against the grain. I think it's kind of intuitive, but apparently it's a big debate. When you cut against the grain, especially with red meat, they'll make it a lot more tender, guys. Now, I said drown these in Italian dressing. I did, but I take the lid off and I let it evaporate. So then at the end, they just get a little bit of brown. See, that's about the kind of brown you want. So they're not dry, because they've been swimming in Italian dressing, soaking up all that sweet, sweet juice and everything. Throw the herbs on here after the third flip, like I said. But then when they absorb all the dressing and it evaporates and everything, then hey, they start browning and then they're real good. But hey, I got to throw these in. Oh, another thing is, like I said, when you can cut these, that's when you know it's done. So if you could just do it real quick with a spatula, that's not, well, that was against the grain, but anyway, there. Cut that. See, yeah, that's still a little bit soft on the inside. It'll be all right. But yeah, it's kind of play with how brown you want them on the outside. I like them a little bit of brown, but I don't like them dry. So this is about perfect, guys. I'm gonna throw this in here. I'll get back at you guys. Real good. But hey, I got to throw these in. Oh, another thing is, like I said, when you can cut these, that's when you know it's done. So, if you could just do it real quick with a spatula, that's not, well, that was against the grain, but anyway, there. Cut that. You see, yeah, that's still a little bit soft on the inside. It'll be all right. But yeah, it's kind of play with how brown you want them on the outside. I like them a little bit of brown, but I don't like them dry. So this is about perfect, guys. I'm gonna throw this in here. I'll get back at you guys.